Hi everyone, my name is Monique, and today I'm going to be doing a solo playthrough of a game called Warp's Edge, designed by Scott Almes and published by Renegade Game Studios. Lately, I've been doing some solo gaming, primarily in the form of the Oniverse series, but I figured I'd take a quick break to show you all of this game, which is a game that was highly recommended by a lot of people. Now, if you've never heard of it before, this is a solo-only board game in which you play as a starfighter who is trying to defeat an alien mothership over the course of several warps. The game comes with a storybook that's sort of like a choose-your-own-adventure style story if you'd like to play through a campaign that way. But it is primarily a bag builder. And so today, I'm going to start with a quick teach of the game, and then I'll go straight to my solo playthrough and end with a review. If you'd like to jump around, I'll include timestamps in the description below. Last but not least, if you enjoy content like this and would like to see more solo or two-player playthroughs in the future, please consider subscribing. Otherwise, we are ready to begin. So if you'd please direct your attention to the center of the table, we're all set up here for a solo playthrough of Warp's Edge. Welcome to outer space. Now, like I was mentioning earlier, in this game, you play as a starfighter who is trying to defeat an alien mothership. And so the game actually comes with two double-sided starfighters, and it's really just all about playing style. And so today, I'm going to be playing as the Achilles Model GC, and I'm going up against the Hydra that is at a difficulty level of 2. Now, the game is played over the course of several warps, depending on which mothership you're up against. And so in the case of the Hydra, we have a maximum time limit of 4 warps. And our main goal is to defeat the mothership by destroying all of its sections before the end of the final warp. If we get to the end of the 4th warp before fully destroying the mothership, or if ever our hull reaches 0 typically, then we lose the game. There is an exception because of the starfighter that we are using, but we'll discuss that later. Now, the way that the game works is each turn we are going to draw 5 tokens from our bag, and the tokens are sort of the main part of the game. Now, there are 3 main types of tokens that you'll see, in addition to the variable tokens that change depending on which starfighter you're using. And so at the start of your turn, you'll always draw 5 of these from your bag, and you can basically take actions with them until you've either run out of tokens or you've decided that you're done for the turn. Now, in addition to the alien mothership, at any given time, we'll also typically be facing 4 enemy ships that can each be defeated in one of 2 main ways. When attacking these ships, you can either use lasers, which are the pink tokens, and the number at the top left-hand corner of the card tells you the minimum number of lasers you'll need to assign to that enemy in order to defeat it. Alternatively, we can maneuver around alien ships using our maneuver tokens, which are in blue. And same thing, the number at the top right-hand corner tells you what you need. And the items below each area here tell you what reward you get for defeating it in that way. As an example, if I wanted to, say, maneuver around the stalker, I could assign one of my value 1 maneuver tokens to it because that's all it needs in order for me to successfully maneuver around it. And as a reward, I would gain 1 energy token of value 1 from the supply. Now, anytime you defeat an enemy ship, they go into the discard pile, and your token gets discarded. So we're going to have a discard pile off to the side. And any tokens you gain as a reward immediately go into your bag. And so that is the bag builder aspect of the game. The heart of this game is going to be in you gaining more and more of these tokens and curating your bag with specific tokens so that you can become stronger over the course of several warps and eventually be able to defeat the alien mothership. Now, the issue here, and where some of the difficulty lies, is in the fact that after you're done distributing all of your tokens, the enemy is going to attack you as well. In fact, the symbols at the bottom of each of these enemy cards tell you how much damage you're going to take when they attack you. And there are actually 3 different levels of enemy ships. These are just level 1, so they're going to get stronger and stronger as we dig into the deck. The good thing is these enemy ships can be stunned. And so if you don't have enough tokens in your supply to be able to fully evade or fully defeat an enemy ship, assigning even just 1 laser or 1 maneuver token to the ship will prevent them from attacking you at the end of that turn. This is a bad example, actually, because they only needed a 1 maneuver token here, but had I assigned it here, then neither of these ships would be able to attack me at the end of the turn, and both of these tokens would go above the ships for the next round, which means the tokens that you assign are cumulative. So in the next turn, I'll only need 1 more laser to defeat the Venom and 1 more maneuver token to maneuver around the Reaver. And the last main type of tokens are the green energy tokens, which can be used in 2 main ways. The first way is to repair your shields. At the end of the turn, when you take damage, you are first going to take damage in the form of your shields, And once your shields are completely down, then you'll start taking damage via your hull, which is very bad. And so spending an energy token allows you to repair your shields up to twice the value of the token. Alternatively, you can use these energy tokens to purchase more tokens to go into your bag. And the cost for all of the tokens are listed on the actual storage unit. They range from anywhere between 1 energy for the smallest 1 value laser all the way up to 4 energy for a 3 value energy token. And so we're definitely going to want to spend these to purchase more tokens so that we can make stronger attacks in the future. As for the mothership, attacking them works the same way as the enemy ships, with the exception that some sections of the ship will require only a specific type of attack. And so specifically for the Hydra, the left section here requires 6 energy tokens, the middle requires 7 lasers, and the right side requires 4 maneuvers. In addition, there are also special abilities that are always going to come into play unless the section is either stunned or destroyed. Now, once I either run out of tokens or I decide that I'm done playing them, I can hold a certain amount of tokens from turn to turn, which with my Achilles here is only 1 token, and then the enemy attacks. And so for each ship and section of the mothership that was not at least stunned, I will take damage equal to the number of symbols at the bottom of the card by first decreasing my shields and then eventually my hull. For each shield I lose, I also have to discard one of my discarded tokens out of the game. That can actually potentially be a good thing if you're trying to get rid of the lower valued lasers as an example, but keep in mind you're also removing tokens out of your system forever. Then you always end your turn by drawing 5 new tokens from your bag, and if ever you cannot draw all 5 tokens, then that is when the warp ends. So there's a lot of strategy in terms of when to put certain tokens into your bag in order to delay the warp, because it is a timer for the game, but you also want to curate your bag with stronger tokens. And you'll always start your next turn by refilling any empty spaces from the enemy ship deck, which will become harder and harder the further you dig. And so that is a basic overview of how a turn works. Now, once a warp ends, you're going to take all of your discarded tokens and put them back into your bag, but you'll also do the same for all of the enemy ships, including the ones that you defeated. They will all go back on top of the deck. You'll shuffle them, but they'll get placed back on top of the deck so that you'll have to go up against them again. But the good thing is each time a warp ends, you'll get a new skill card. Now, during setup, you draw 2 of these skill cards and you get to keep one of them. And this is basically a skill that you can use during your turn to help you in some sort of way. There's a wide variety of these cards that you'll encounter in the deck, and they all have some sort of an activation requirement. In this example, my advanced maneuver here requires me to activate it by spending 2 energy tokens, or a value 2 at least. And the benefit says that targets require 1 less maneuver to evade this turn, minimum 1. So like I said, there's a wide variety of these that you'll encounter, and we'll probably just discuss them as we play the game. And I think that is about all we need in order to get started with the gameplay. So let's just discuss the specifics about my starfighter as well as the alien mothership. So, as the Achilles model GC, yes, my shields and my hull are very limited, but it says here, if my hull reaches 0, I don't actually lose the game. Instead, I reset my hull and shields to max, and then the current warp ends immediately. So there really is only one way for me to lose this current gameplay, and it's if we get to the end of the 4th warp without me completely defeating the Hydra. In addition, each starfighter has their own combination of 5 of these power tokens that you actually fill the storage unit with. These each have their own unique abilities, and I'll probably be discussing them as I collect them. But just so you know, we start the game with one of the yellow power tokens in our bag. So we do have this one in there, and I'll discuss what it does when I draw it. And as for the Hydra, it has 3 different sections that I need to defeat, and like I was mentioning earlier, I have to defeat them in different ways. But also the 2 outside sections here have special abilities that are going to be active unless I stun them. So this ability here says repairing shields only increases your shield meter by 1 per energy instead of 2. Okay. And this one says level 1 enemies, which are the yellow ones, require 1 extra laser to destroy or 1 extra maneuver to evade. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to stun this section a bunch and / or defeat it early. Now, unlike one of the other alien motherships, this one can attack and be attacked every turn. And so this section here is actually the section that's going to deal damage. All right, and I think we are truly ready to begin. So I'm going to start my first turn by drawing 5 tokens from the bag. So I'm just trying to give them a good shuffle. And here we go. The 5 tokens to start. Wow, that is a lot of maneuvering. Uh-oh. I can't tell if this is ideal or not. But either way, I'm going to need to assign pretty much 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tokens if I don't want to take any damage at the end of my turn. Now the issue is this ability here that says these level 1 enemies require 1 extra laser or 1 extra maneuver in order to defeat them. And I really don't have a lot. So I think I'm actually going to start by stunning this section. I believe this is how it works. If I'm doing this wrong, please correct me. But I think if I stun this by placing this here, then now I can ignore that ability. I mean, that's what the ancient power says here. It says, just like normal attacks, these special powers are active every turn unless the corresponding section has been stunned. So there you go. Boom, I've stunned it. Then I'm going to need some reinforcements, and I like the reward for evading the Reaver, which is going to allow me to draw 3 tokens from my bag to use this turn. So I'm going to go ahead and assign both of my maneuver tokens to it, which is going to successfully maneuver or evade, sorry, the Reaver. And these get discarded, and this is going to go out. So I'm just going to go ahead and discard my ships up here. And now I get to draw 3 more tokens to hopefully help me out here. Ooh, I drew my Warhammer. So this is really strong. This allows me to choose an enemy and immediately destroy it, and I would gain the reward for destroying it as if I used lasers. The only issue is if I use it, other enemies cannot be stunned. And these can only be assigned to enemies, which means I can't assign it to the mothership, as tempting as that is. So then I think I am going to use my Warhammer, and seeing as this is the most expensive in terms of laser requirement, I'm going to use it on that. It's going to immediately destroy this stalker, which gains me a maneuver token. Maneuver tokens only come at a value of 1, and I'm going to need 4 to destroy that section, so that's kind of nice. This goes into the discard, and this will go directly into my bag. Seeing as I cannot stun using laser tokens, specifically for the enemies this turn, I might as well just use them all. So I'm going to destroy the intruder as well, because it requires 2 lasers, which I have. And that's going to get me another one of these tokens, which goes into my bag. And I'm also going to destroy the Venom, which means I am going to be attacked by the mothership. These two attack value, which is fine because maybe that'll be a nice way for me to cull these 2 smaller or lower valued lasers out of my system. So anyway, this gets destroyed. And the reward here is I get the O token that's associated with the combination of power tokens from my Starfighter. So this is Overdrive. So this allows me to place it between 2 adjacent targets. And so one thing I didn't mention is the adjacency will matter when we have the enemy ships back. And this counts as 1 maneuver against both targets. So that's going to be very useful later, but I don't have this now. It goes into my bag. All right, I have 2 energy to spend, and I think I'm going to hold on to it, knowing I'm going to take the damage, and I can hold 1. So anyway, that is it. I have run out of tokens. That is the end of my actions. Now we go on to enemy attacks. So we don't have any more enemies, but the mothership is going to hit me for 2. So that's my shields that I have to go down first. And now I have to discard a token from my discard pile for each shield I had to go down. So it's a total of 2. I think I'm going to remove both of my 1 value lasers. Let's just get these out now. That might be a mistake, but all of the maneuver tokens are value 1, so might as well keep them. And this maneuver token will now go to the top. It's still assigned to this section, but this needs to be reassigned a token if I'd like to stun it again in the next turn. All right, and now I draw 5 new tokens, so I have not been keeping track of how many tokens I have left. You're never allowed to look inside your bag, but you can always feel to see how many tokens you have left. And in case you're wondering, I only have 1 token left, which means if I don't get 4 more tokens into this bag by the end of this next turn, then the first warp will end so soon. So let's go ahead and move on to the next turn. We always refill the display so that we have 4. And now we're moving into the level 2 enemies. You can tell this because they are orange. So specifically in our deck, because we're playing against the Hydra, we have 4 of each of the 3 levels, which means we don't have to stun this now. This is only level 1 enemies that require an extra laser or maneuver token. Although these are stronger, which means they have worse abilities as well. Shade over here requires 5 lasers to destroy it. And it says, while this enemy is in play, all tokens cost 1 extra energy to buy. This ability cannot be stunned. Wow. And Berserk says this enemy cannot be stunned by lasers. Great. Great, great, great. Okay. And now I'm thinking I honestly should have saved this for the next level of ships so that I could just, boom, destroy the shade. Wow, this is actually really tough right now. I'm like not really seeing a way to extend it another turn while still being able to attack these. These are really strong. So what I'm thinking, because the Achilles here has this ability that basically prevents us from losing the game if our hull goes all the way down to 0, maybe we don't care about the damage that we take this turn because we only have 1 more token left in here anyway, so the warp was always going to end. The worst thing is we're just going to have to discard 1 token from our system, which maybe is not so bad. So let's just focus on getting more tokens. So I'm going to go ahead and assign my my overdrive token, and I'm going to assign it in between these 2 targets. So this would typically stun both. Not that it really matters because we're going to take all the damage anyway, but this counts as a maneuver for both of these targets. Now, I'm also going to assign my value 1 maneuver token to Shade, which is going to defeat it. We're going to fully evade this card. Because of that, this is going to get placed with the Berserk, and so if we had played another turn, this would count as 1 maneuver token towards that card. So this is going to get discarded, and we get a value 2 energy token, which is great. Oops, this goes into the bag. And it's nice because now that that is out, we do not have to spend 1 extra energy to buy tokens. We can just buy them for their normal value. Now, this value 1 laser is not going to do anything for us because all of these require like 4, 6. So I'm going to put it into the hold, and you can always freely exchange tokens with your hold during your turn. But since the warp is going to end, all these tokens are going to go back into the bag except for the token that you place in your hold. So this is going to guarantee us 1 laser in the next warp. These we're going to use to buy some stuff. So I'm discarding a total value of 4, and then now I can take a combination of tokens that add up to 4, which I think will just be 1 value 2 laser. So this is going to cost 2 energy, and 1 maneuver token. So they each cost 2 energy each, and they're going into the bag. All right, that's it. I've used all my tokens. Our first warp is going to end. So we resolve enemy attacks, and technically you're supposed to go from left to right. It doesn't really matter, but let's go ahead and resolve the flame. It hits us for 3, so that's 1. And which means we have to discard 1 of these. Oh no, let's just do an energy token. And with the rest of the damage, our hull is going to go to 0. So our hull reaches 0. We do not lose the game. Instead, reset your hull and your shields to max. And then the current warp ends immediately. So here we are. At the end of the warp, the first thing that happens is you take all of your tokens back and you put them into your bag. And so that's going to be discarded tokens, tokens that are still in your pool if it's during the turn somehow, and also tokens that are assigned to enemies and the mothership. So we will have to reassign maneuver tokens to that section to defeat it. The token in my hold, again, stays there, though. Then we take all of the enemy cards that are in the row, as well as the ones that we defeated and discarded. We're going to shuffle them, and these cards are going to get placed on top of the deck. So it does keep us from getting to the really, really hard ships too early, which is nice. But now we have to face the wrath of these ships again. So here we go, already. Then, if you use any of your skill cards, they actually get exhausted because you can only use them once per warp, and you would refresh them at this time. We did not use it, so we don't have to worry about that, but we do get a new one. So we'll draw 2, and between these 2, we get to keep 1. So we have Perfect Plan that requires a 1 maneuver in order to activate it, and this says tokens you buy this turn go directly into your pool. Oh my gosh, that's great. Or Respite Recharge. So you have to spend 2 energy, and this lets you move 1 enemy from the row to the bottom of the deck. Oh, they're both good. I think we're going to go with Perfect Plan, though, because that's a little bit, I guess it feeds more into strategic planning for the turn. This is also really useful. But it is going to go to the bottom of the skill deck, And that's that. So then we just go ahead and advance the warp token, and we are ready to begin again with warp 2. Here are the 5 tokens that are going to start our token pool. Oh boy. Oh, we got our Warhammer back. And 5. And of course, we're going to start with our new row of enemies. So now it's going to be a mix of level 1 and level 2. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. It's an exact mix. So this ability is going to make it harder for us to defeat these two unless we can stun it. All right, let's go ahead and start. So the Reaver here, the ability says at the end of each turn, discard all laser tokens from this enemy, which means we could choose to stun it using a maneuver token and the ability will have no effect. So then I think I am going to stun this again because I think the name of the game for me for this warp is I want to focus on getting more tokens. This is stunned, so now we don't have to worry about that ability, I believe. I believe. So I'm going to Warhammer the Flame. Boom. So this has been destroyed, which means I cannot stun using lasers, the enemies specifically. The destruction reward is a P token. So this works similarly to the O token that I had, except it makes the adjacent cards have 1 laser each. So it's going to go into my bag. Seeing as I'm not allowed to stun now using lasers because I use this, I might as well use my lasers to destroy. So let's go ahead and destroy the Venom. So it required 2 lasers. This goes out and I get an O token. So we're filling our bags with some good stuff. And then the Reaver over here. Oh no, I'm only going to have 1 token left. I just realized. So I'm going to have to take damage again. Oh, this is hard. Gosh, I felt like it was going so well. Well, I'm just going to keep going with my original plan because I've already done half of it. So this is a total of 3 lasers, which destroys the Reaver. So this gets discarded. I will collect a P token, and then this goes out. And then now I have to choose between assigning my 1 maneuver token to Torment or to the Mothership. Either way, I'm going to have to take 2 damage. Do I want to use it towards the Torment? I think that's the answer, right? I'm going to go ahead and assign this here. It's going to stun the card. And the reason why I chose this is because at least the maneuver token is 1 towards the Evade requirement, whereas this section requires lasers. So this would do nothing for it besides just stunning it. All right, that is it for my pilot actions. So now the enemy attacks. This is stunned, but my enemy over here is going to deal 2 damage to my shields, which means I have to discard 2 of these. Uh-oh. Oh no. This didn't go as planned. I'm going to discard... Oh, wait. Discarding this would remove it from the game. I was thinking if it goes back into the supply, then I can at least buy it again, but I can't. So I think the answer is just these 2, right? A value 1 and value 2 laser. Oh, that is so unfortunate. Anyway, that's it. So these will go above and we end the turn. So it's drawn 5 new tokens. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Ooh, it might be a good idea to use my perfect plan this turn because I have energy tokens to spend. I couldn't do it last turn because I didn't have any energy tokens. All right, let's go ahead and set up for the next turn. We have 3 new enemies, and the top 4 are the ones that we've already seen. So we've seen these before. Wow, okay, this is hard again. Okay, well, I think it's time to activate my advanced maneuver. So the requirement is me spending 2 energy. I have to place it on that card, and this gets exhausted. This says targets require 1 less maneuver to evade this turn, minimum 1. I think I'm going to try to evade the Berserk because this will allow me to draw 3 more tokens from my bag, and I need help. I need a lot of help. So I'm assigning 2 of my maneuver tokens here. It's been fully evaded. This gets discarded, and I can draw tokens from my bag. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. So then this is super inideal. I'm going to assign a maneuver token to this section of the ship, the mothership, because I'm so afraid of taking damage now. I only have 2 more warps left. Stinks because this requires lasers, but I'm assigning a maneuver token. Anyway, that is stunned. It's not going to deal any damage to me. And now I think it's pretty clear that I'm only going to be able to gain the benefits of one of these 3 ships. So I'll assign the P token here, which again provides 1 laser to each of these. Since it is the first turn that I'm assigning it, it does stun both, from what I understand. It does not stun this ability, but it will prevent them from dealing damage. And I think with this maneuver token, I'm just going to fully evade the Torment. I chose this one specifically because it's going to get me a 3 laser, which is great. And again, I was able to evade because I tapped my advanced maneuver, which I can now discard because it no longer applies. So that gets me the 3 laser. It's going to go inside my bag. Now I do have these 2 tokens left, these 2 energy tokens. It's almost sort of a waste for me to buy anything because tokens cost 1 extra energy to buy. So I think I'm going to spend my 2 energy to increase my shields back up to max. Typically it's ×2, but because this ability is in play, it's only by 1 per energy instead of 2. I'm going to hold on to this one. There really is no reason. I don't think I can use it actually. So that's it. All right. Enemy attacks. I believe this is the first time that we were completely successful in not taking attacks. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but this will go to the top and that is it. They were all fully stunned. All right, next pool of 5. 1, 2, 3. Whoa. Oh no. Oh no, I did not count properly. I only have 1 last token in my bag. So this means that the warp is going to end. I could have taken damage. I should have managed my tokens properly in that turn, but the warp is going to end. So, oh no, what a waste. And again, the reason for that is because I was not able to draw a full pool of 5. I only had these 3. So that's it. We're going to end this warp. Let's go ahead and take our tokens back. So these go back in the bag. We get these 3 that we didn't even get to use, which is a shame. And then these 2. We're going to reset the enemy cards. So the great thing is we're still not dipping into the really, really hard ones. All right, there we go. This gets refreshed, and now we're going to choose a new skill card. So that is sort of the nice thing about ending a warp. We get a new one of these. We have Explosive Rhythm. So it requires 2 energy, and it says tokens you gain from evade rewards this turn go directly into your pool. Okay, oh, I almost chose that one already. And then there's Home Away from Home. So this requires a maneuver, and it says you can refresh 1 exhausted skill card. Seeing as we're barely using these right now, let's just take this one. I was drawn to it. Let's kind of go with our gut. Okay. So this gets discarded, and now we are entering the 3rd warp. So we have 2 more warps to defeat the Hydra, which we are barely touching, unfortunately. Here's our new pool of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Ooh, this is a nice strong pull. And then, of course, our enemies. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Nice. They're really strong. But at least maybe we don't have to worry about this. We'll see. As for abilities, the Reaver again, discard all laser tokens from this enemy, and this one, all tokens cost 1 extra energy to buy. Ugh, I hate this. I really do. I hate the shade. All right, well, I think I would like to start going aggressive with the mothership. And so I'm going to assign my 3 laser to this middle section because I hate having to worry about it attacking me. Which means this needs 4 more lasers in order for me to defeat just this section. So we'll see how it goes. Now, seeing as these 2 enemy ships require fewer lasers than these 2, I'm going to assign the P token in between them, which again counts as 1 laser for each. And I'm going to assign my O token, which does the opposite, but for maneuvers, to these 2. So now everybody's been stunned, with the exception of these 2 sections, but we're at least not going to take any damage. I think I'm going to hold my Warhammer for next turn because I would not be able to stun using lasers had I used it. And I'm just going to spend all 3 of this energy on 1 really powerful laser. So this is a 3 value laser, which is going to go into my bag. All right, that is it for pilot actions. Now the enemy attacks. Everybody's been stunned. Every section that can deal damage has been stunned, so we don't take any damage. So that is the good news here. All right, so let's go ahead and draw our new pool. And I'm thinking, now that we have stronger tokens in the bag, it might be a good idea to sort of just stun the enemies if possible and try to attack the mothership, because that way we're not going to be digging further into this deck with the more powerful ships that have abilities. The only thing is, these are great to defeat when you need more tokens. So in the early game, you're definitely going to want to do that. And I'm probably still going to want to do that considering the tokens that I drew. but it is just an idea, I guess. All right, no new enemies. We're going to go straight into pilot actions. And considering the fact that I have so many maneuver tokens this turn, it might be a good time for me to activate my explosive rhythm. So this one says tokens you gain from evade rewards this turn go directly into your pool. And I think I have enough maneuver tokens to defeat or to evade these two, which would give me another W and 2 energy. So let's do that. I'm going to spend this activating this card. And since these are both level 2 enemies, I don't have to worry about this ability. So I will assign a maneuver token to Shade, which fully evades Shade. So this will go onto this card now. And that'll get me 2 energy, which goes directly into my pool. And now tokens do not cost an extra energy to buy. So that's nice. And then I'm going to assign my other 2 maneuver tokens to the Flames. And I have a total of 3 maneuver tokens. This card has been evaded. I can take my last Warhammer token because each... Oh no, this is not the last one. I only have 1. I was not counting well. Each letter only has 3, I believe. So there's 1 left, I guess. Okay, I think I might as well use these Warhammer tokens on both of these because you cannot use it on the mothership from what I understand. It says enemies. So let's go ahead and use it on Torment first. This destroys the Torment ship, and I get to draw 3 tokens from my bag. So that's great. Hopefully we can draw some strong lasers so that we can attack the mothership. We did not. Oh no. Well, this is not that great because I have a lot of tokens here, and I really only have this ship and these ones, I guess, to assign tokens to, but I'm going to waste them if I don't use them properly. Since I can only assign this to an enemy, I'm just going to put this in my hold. I'm not going to use a Warhammer this turn, which leaves me with these tokens to assign. So then I'm going to assign my O token in between these 2 sections. It says in the rulebook that you assign it in between 2 adjacent targets. It does not say enemies. So I'm assuming these are 2 separate targets that I can stun, I guess, using this maneuver token, because it's like 1 maneuver for each side. That way, it stuns this ability, and I will only need two maneuvers to evade this card, which is what I want to do. Because I want to be able to draw 3 more tokens. I'm hoping I could try to defeat something here before moving into the next turn. So we've evaded the Reaver. Let's go ahead and draw. And these are actually my last 3 tokens in the bag. So this is kill or be killed, I think. I knew that I had powerful lasers, so that's what I was counting on. So that is what we drew, fortunately. Okay, I really, really do not want to lose this game without defeating at least 1 section of the mothership. So I think all I can do is destroy this section. I have 3 lasers here. I need 7 at least. So I'm going to assign both of these. So now I have a total of 8. This section of the mothership has now been destroyed. Oh my goodness. Wow. I was worried. So you place the destruction token on it, and now I'm not quite sure which way is up. But that is now destroyed for the rest of the game, even if when we end the warp at the end of this turn, that will stay there. So I don't have to worry about that damage anymore. And now this goes here. These get discarded. There really is no other reward besides the satisfaction of knowing we're not going to take damage from that anymore. And I think I'm just going to use the 2 energy to purchase another maneuver token. So this costs 2 energy, knowing that this is going to require 4 maneuver tokens, and they really only have a value of 1, which is so not ideal. Okay, I'm going to end my pilot actions, and I think between the 3 of these, yeah, I guess I'll hold the Warhammer onto the next warp. These 2 will get discarded. We go into enemy attacks. Nobody's going to attack. And because there are no more tokens in the bag, the warp will end. So we're going to move into the final warp. Let's go ahead and collect all of these tokens. And at least I feel like maybe we're never going to see the really, really hard enemies. So I'm happy about that. Let's go ahead and shuffle these back in. So we only spent 4. And I'm thinking the name of the game really for this final warp is to try to ignore the enemies and really just go for the ship, right? So there's that. This gets refreshed and we get our final skill card. Hopefully it is something good that we can use against the mothership, because if not, we're in trouble. So split laser requires a 1 laser to activate it. And it says this card counts as 1 laser against each target, but cannot stun. This effect lasts until the end of this turn. Huh, that's interesting. Okay. Adaptive nanofiber requires 3 energy. That's expensive. But in step 3 of each turn, it prevents 1 damage. Ugh, I don't know if do I care about that? So this is an ongoing skill. This is different from the other ones because you basically spend the 3 energy, which I believe goes out of the game because it's a one-time spend, and this will be active for the rest of the game. It's a little bit too late for that, I feel, and I really need that energy for this section because this requires 6. So I'm just going to keep the split laser, and this will go back to the bottom of the deck. All right. Let's go into the 4th and final warp. Hopefully we can win. You know, I'm looking at all of the tokens that we've removed so far, and it does seem like we've removed a lot of lasers. So I'm hoping that we have enough maneuver tokens. The thing that I'm worried about is the energy. So I don't know. We have to destroy 2 sections in this one warp. So here we go. Here are our 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right. And for our enemies, we already know who we are up against. I think the one that I said I hated is definitely here. Yes, you, Shade. Oh my gosh. All right. And you know what? This is actually not bad. Because we have these 2 and we only have this 1 laser, we really don't have to worry about not being able to stun using a laser. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to assign a maneuver token to this section. This has now been stunned, and I can now evade this card using 2, which I really want to do. Or actually, I guess destroying this card will have the same benefit. I really just want to draw 3 more tokens. So let me do this first. I'm going to destroy the Torment card using my Warhammer token. And this will let me draw 3 tokens from the bag. So let's do that. I really just want to know what I'm working with. So 1, 2, 3. Oh my gosh, perfect. I'm just going to assign these 4 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Why? Or do we have something that makes it cheaper? Targets require 1 less maneuver to evade this turn. Let's do this. I'm going to activate my advanced maneuver. So it does cost me 2 energy. And now targets specifically. So that means the mothership as well. It requires 1 less maneuver to evade this turn, minimum 1. So I only need 3 on here. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Boom. This section has now been destroyed. We just need this. Okay, now I'm going to assign the O here because it's going to destroy them both, I believe, right? Because they require 2 maneuver tokens each, and this is 1 for both. So let's just do this one at a time. I'm going to evade this one first because it gets me a 2 energy, which I'm going to put into my bag, and I'm going to hope to draw. All right, so then this is also maneuvered, and I get to draw 3 tokens. So let's hope for some energy. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, we need 6 energy here. This gets discarded, by the way. Okay, what else can we do? I'm just going to go ahead and assign these now. So 3 energy will get assigned here. It does stun this, which I don't really care too much about because my shields are actually pretty good. So I'll place the 3 here. I only need 3 left to win the game, really. And then these 2 I'm going to use to maneuver, to evade the flame. So this will get me my last Warhammer token into my bag, and I'm going to save that token for the next turn. So that maybe we can use that. Okay, these will get discarded, and this goes out. I'm a bit scared because we will get a new set of 4 enemies, but that is it for the turn. Now the enemy attacks, we don't take any damage, which is great. It feels good now that we're sort of towards the end of the game because people are not attacking anymore. And then we'll draw our new set of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, I'm literally 1 short. 1 short of greatness. Is it you? Oh no, it's not. Oh no, we need to get more. We need more energy. Here we go. Next set of 4. This is probably going to be the final turn. I need to count how many tokens are left in the bag. Oh, actually, I have exactly 5 tokens in the bag. So if we survive past this turn, then there will be another one. So what we probably want to do is just look for benefits that allow us to draw more tokens from the bag. So this one, we have to evade using 3 maneuver. So let's just go ahead and assign the O here, I guess. Let's just assign that there. Let's assign the P here so that at least they're all stunned. This actually gets fully evaded now. So this gets discarded and we get a value 1 laser into the bag. And then I'm going to assign these other 2 maneuver tokens to the Berserk so that we can also draw 3 tokens from the bag and hope for 1 energy. I actually don't know if I even have another energy. And now I'm realizing that I probably strategically should have done it in the opposite order, not add the laser into the bag before drawing, because I'm looking for something specific. So here we go. Final 3. 1, 2, 3. 3! We did it! This is it. We are going to win. Okay. So I don't think we have to do anything more. Just assign these 2. Now we have a total of 2, 4, 6, 7, which is overkill, really, for this section, but we have destroyed the final section of the ship almost at the very brink of the 4th warp. So we were not efficient. We were not very good, I guess, but in the end, we did it. The mothership has been fully destroyed and the game ends immediately. So you don't finish out the warp or anything like that. That is it. It is a decisive victory. That's what it says in the rule book. I think it says like you either win in a decisive victory or a resounding defeat. So I'm glad that we were able to win against the Hydra this time, because this is a really hard game. If that wasn't evident, I guess. So anyway, that is Warp's Edge. I hope you enjoyed that playthrough. If you did not join me for the teach, in this game, there are actually 3 separate mothership boards, and they all have different levels of difficulty. They're double-sided, so there's technically 6 motherships that you can play against, and there are also 2 separate double-sided starfighters. The starfighters are not different in terms of difficulty, it's just playing style, but they do have different amounts of shields and hulls and special abilities, and they also use a different combination of those power tokens, which is kind of what we were using here. Now, I primarily use the POW. I did not go into E and R, and they also work differently. So there's a lot of variety, basically. There's a lot of replayability. You can also sort of go along with the book. It's sort of like a choose your own adventure style campaign narrative. It's a narrative driven campaign that you can sort of go through, and it'll tell you how to set up the game according to what's happening in the story. So if you're interested in that sort of gameplay, that is there. I have not gone through the book because I'm more of a just kind of go straight into the game kind of gamer. I just kind of set it up and choose what I feel comfortable with playing against and which starfighter I want to use, and kind of just go from there. Now, I will mention that I did not play against the easiest mothership, which is called the Dread, because in order for you to defeat the Dread, you have to defeat all of the enemies in the row and deck. You cannot attack, they cannot attack you either, but you cannot attack them until they've been fully defeated, which I found to be very exhausting. So I did not like, as easy, I guess, as the Dread was, I really didn't like going up against them. So I sort of just bumped up the level of difficulty just by 1 notch to the Hydra, which has a difficulty of 2. And if you're curious, it maxes out at 4 difficulty. So the Revenant, which actually I think is the same mothership. I think if you go up against this mothership, you start with this side, and at some point it flips over to the opposite side. So I think this is all just one game. So maybe I was mistaken. There are five motherships. But I have not played against them, and in fact, I am pretty confident that if I were to, I would probably lose. So I played this game a few times now, and I will say, just to sort of preface this, that I am not typically the biggest fan of bag builders. I don't know what it is. Naveen always tells me it's the same thing. It's the same thing as a deck builder, because you're still randomizing cards. It's the same sort of mechanism. It's just that you put all the tokens in a bag. And he is right about that. But I don't know what it is. There is just something different about the physicality of placing the tokens in a bag. For anybody who's a Euro gamer out there, Orleans is also an example of a bag builder, and I'm not super keen on that game either. But I think this game is excellent. It's really hard, but it's really interesting in what it sort of forces you to do, the sort of decision making, what you have to balance and weigh in order to try to win. I do like the variety in the starfighters as well as the motherships, because you can really curate your experience based off of that. And then, like I was mentioning earlier, you can go through the narrative experience to have more of a rich gameplay, I guess. But I also really think that it's interesting that you're trying to balance taking tokens, when to get rid of tokens, whenever you take damage. Maybe it's okay that I take damage this turn because it's really not going to affect me a whole lot in the long run. But you're also racing against time. So unlike other sort of deck builders where you really want to curate your deck as early as possible, you want to gain really strong cards and then you want to cull the weak cards as early as possible so that you can have just this really OP deck as quickly as possible. This game is not necessarily like that. Like, you definitely want to do that to an extent, but you're racing against time. And the fewer tokens that you have in your bag, the faster the warp will end. So that dynamic in itself, I thought was really, really interesting. I also really like that it's challenging. You know, I talked about the fact that it's such a hard game a lot. And I think solo games, for me, I prefer solo games to be pretty challenging because it's you against the game, right? So I think the harder the better. And the fact that you can sort of scale the difficulty, I think is great. Now, I will say I had difficulty learning the game from the rulebook. The rulebook outlines all of the steps of your turn and the overall the overview of what the game is doing really well, I think. But I felt like every time I played, I always had questions. Whether it was the specific mothership effects or just, well, what happens about adjacency, this and that. The rulebook didn't really do the best job at explaining all of the little details. And I found that to be a little bit frustrating. But barring that, the game is great. I sort of wish there was a 2-player cooperative version of the game because I think it could be a really cool challenge to be able to play with 2 players. You're both bag building, and I don't exactly know how it would work, but just both of you sort of going up against a stronger mothership, more enemies, maybe something like that, I thought would be cool. But as a solo game, it's probably one of the better ones that I've played so far. It is also longer than the solo games that I'm used to playing. You know, I'm sort of going through the entire Oniverse series, and those games are like 10 to 30 minutes max. And this is definitely like a full 30 to 60-minute experience, depending on how much analysis paralysis you have. It is very strategic. As soon as you pull out those tokens in a turn, I'm sort of just frozen, staring at all of the enemies and the mothership, just trying to figure out what my plan is going to be, because the order of when you assign tokens is really important. I also really like that you have skill cards that sort of throw a wrench, or not a wrench. Yeah, I guess it's a nice extra tool that will change from game to game. So, you know, I don't necessarily know that I would have won if it weren't for the skill cards that I drew, because they are super useful. And being able to time when to activate them is really important in the game. But overall, super interesting experience. I would be really interested to hear from anybody who has played this via the narrative experience, what you thought of that aspect, because that is one part of the game that I have not been able to play. Basically just going through the book and reading through the story and making decisions based off of that and sort of going against the motherships that way. So I would love to hear your thoughts. But overall, really, really, really enjoyed this game. It really has a lot of different spaces in terms of decision making. And I think that is what made it so strategic for me. And really, it feels really satisfying to play, because you feel like you're making the right decisions in the moment that sort of led you to this victory or potentially defeat. So anyway, that is Warp's Edge. I just wanted to take a little break from the Oniverse series to kind of dig into something a little bit heavier. But again, if you've played this game before, I would love to hear your thoughts. Please let me know in the comments down below. And if you have any other recommendations for solo games outside of the Oniverse, I would love to hear your thoughts on that as well. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching the gameplay. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoy videos like this and would like to see more in the future, please consider subscribing. Thank you. Bye.